Hi, I'm unable to join you in person this week, so I thought I would provide a virtual class, recording. This week, we're going to skip the movement portion and just work with the breath and meditation. And the session will conclude with a creative expression activity that will give you an opportunity to take something home with you as a reminder of how these practices might be a benefit to you. So to get started, you're going to need to grab a mat, an eye pillow if you want one, a few colored pencils, and at least one of the pieces of paper with a circle on it, large or small, whichever you prefer. You can grab one of each if you like, if you're not sure what you might like to do at the end. These circles are called mandalas, and a mandala is just a sacred circle. And the idea of a mandala practice or a sacred circle practice is that after the guided meditation, you'll have some time at the very end to kind of fill in that circle to the extent that you prefer, right? So fill in is relative here. But you can add to that circle whatever it is that you'd like to take with you, either from today's meditation session or from the culminating 5 weeks of practices that we've done together and that you've done with the other adults, the other people who have come in for this program. And so the mandala is just a visual representation of either the meditation specifically that we do today or of a broader theme of your choice. And you can add as much or as little to it as you'd like. I'd like to take a moment now to ask you at the very end of the session, I'm going to ask you to kind of come up out of the meditation, and I ask that you take 5 minutes to work on the mandala or reflect about the practice and determine if there's something you'd like to capture in the mandala on your own in silence, and not with the collaboration of anyone else. After that 5 minutes of silence at the end of the practice, you can continue to work on your mandalas, but you can do it in a more community sort of way. You can share it a little more, talk. But I ask that you take that first 5 minutes for real reflection, to give yourself an opportunity to really decide what it is that you would like to capture in this physical representation of a mandala. So, yeah. So once you have your mat and all your supplies, go ahead and situate your mat where you can still hear my voice and where you have a little space to yourself, so you're not too close to a friend or anyone else. You won't need to see the screen. This is going to just have this steady image on it for the duration, so as long as you can hear my voice, you're good. Feel free to pause the recording now, and when everyone is situated, then go ahead and start the recording again, and we'll get started with the session. So this practice today, we're going to do lying down with the eye pillow or without, as is your preference. If you choose an eye pillow to begin with and then decide that it's not comfortable or it feels like a distraction, feel free to move it. If you choose a shape for your body to begin with that doesn't feel comfortable after a little bit, then also feel free to make those movements. I do ask that you try to be as quiet as possible, just out of consideration for the entire community participating in the event. I'm not there in person to pause and shift and react to and respond to what is happening in the room. So the recording is kind of all you have, and that's sufficient as long as everyone can hear it and everyone is respectful of ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to hear it. So go ahead and take this opportunity to lie on your mat, get situated, eye pillow or not. Feel free to make any movements that you'd like to help you get situated. Maybe there's a couple movements from the yoga practices that we've done to date, maybe holding your knees in towards your chest a little, or a quick reclined twist where you let the one knee fall across the body and then the other. Maybe it's stretching your body long from tips of fingers to tips of toes. Maybe a little side stretch there, reaching out through the left fingertips, left toes, and then out through the right fingertips and right toes. Maybe it's just some wiggle, some shifting of the head or the shoulders, the arms or the hands. Eventually, let yourself come to stillness lying on your back, either with your legs extended long or your knees bent. Once you feel situated lying down, your hands at your sides or maybe on your belly, invite yourself to relax. With your eyes closed or with the benefit of the eye pillow, feel your awareness begin to naturally draw inward. Invite the breath to slow and deepen. Feel the belly rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. And invite the torso to relax all around the breath. Imagine that skin could relax away from muscle, that muscle could relax away from bone, and that bone could sink down toward the earth until the act of breathing, the act of being and lying here is effortless. If you feel your mind pulled away in some other direction by thoughts or memories or emotion, see if you can bring it gently back to the breath, just noticing how the breath feels as it enters the body. Notice how it feels as it exits. Maybe imagine that the act of breathing were the single most interesting thing in this moment. You get to choose what you prioritize, where you focus your attention. And in this moment, I invite you to choose to focus on your breath. The steady flow in and out. So we're going to take the additional step of really relaxing the body today with the body scan. So let your awareness travel down to the tips of your toes. Notice how your feet feel, how the tips of your toes feel. We're going to slowly let your awareness travel up the body, and as your attention travels up the body, imagine it leaves behind a more relaxed, softer version of yourself. You can imagine your attention as a beam of light. You can imagine your attention as a color or an object, or just the very idea of your attention, whatever works for you. You can be as visual and imaginative as you like, or you can keep it simple. But when you're ready, let your awareness start to drop down your feet toward your heels. Imagine that the muscles of your feet relax as your attention draws toward your heels. Feel the muscles in the tops of your feet and your toes, the bottoms of your feet. All release any tension they're holding. You might find that your toes kind of turn out to the side, your feet relax. As your awareness starts to travel up toward your ankles, your heels, your Achilles area relaxes. Feel your ankles relax as your awareness travels up towards your knees. The muscles of the lower legs encouraged to soften. Feel the calves relax, the shins. Let your awareness travel at whatever pace feels natural to you, moving towards your knees, past your knees, through your upper legs toward your hips. Feel all the muscles, big and small, relax through and around the knees, the thighs and the hamstrings, these big muscle groups. Invite them to relax as your awareness travels towards your hips. Feel that whole bony structure of the hips relax toward the ground, as all the structures there relax. Your attention traveling upward, lower belly and lower back relax, middle back and middle belly. Let your awareness travel towards your chest and feel how even the muscles between your ribs start to relax, so there's a little more space even for the breath. Not out of any particular effort, but just out of softening, letting go of held tension. Invite your chest, your shoulders, the space around your shoulder blades to relax, space around your collarbones. Feel your shoulders soften toward the ground, and then let your awareness travel down your arms towards your fingertips. As your attention gathers at your fingertips, invite your awareness to travel back up your arms slowly, inviting your fingers and your hands to relax, your wrists, the muscles of the forearms soften, elbows relax, upper arms. Invite any residual tension around the shoulders to release as your awareness gathers right at the base of your throat. And then continues the climb toward the crown of your head, inviting any tension in the shoulders and the throat, the neck, to release and soften. Your attention moving toward your face, invite the jaw to be a little slack, the tongue to soften a little in your mouth. Notice if you're feeling the jaw clenching at all, let there be a little space between your teeth. The muscles of the cheeks soften, and the muscles all around the eyes, so that maybe even the corners of the eyes kind of feel like they sink toward the back of your head as you release any tension held there. Let your brows soften. Imagine the eyebrows moving away from each other, that point at the center of the brow, the third eye point, relaxing outward. Let go of any furrowing, any worry. As you soften the brow, let your awareness travel up over the crown of the head. The crown of the head sinks toward the mat. The ears soften downward. As you feel your whole scalp release any held tension. Take a few moments here to savor the effortlessness of being. The body relaxed fully, giving over to the pull of gravity. Feel the earth holding you steady, supporting you. No need for effort on your part, nothing to be done. Just you and the breath and the being here. As you allow the body to relax, let your awareness come back to your breath. Notice how the breath moves effortlessly in and out of the body. And follow the rhythm of your breath to a place somewhere within you. And imagine that in this space, you step into a room. And in this room, there is a screen like a movie theater. And maybe imagine that this room is your mind, and on that screen are just images of your thoughts, kind of running as randomly as they might normally run. And feel yourself sitting really close to that screen. So you're really close, really involved with what's playing out on the screen in front of you. So when you're ready, I invite you to imagine yourself moving back. So if you're in a movie theater, imagine taking some steps backward to put yourself in the third, maybe fourth row. So you're still close to the screen, still somewhat involved with what's happening on the screen, with the movie of your thoughts. But you feel yourself gaining a little bit of distance, a little perspective. Take a few moments to adjust to this new perspective. And then when you're ready, let your awareness move a little further back, maybe one row, maybe it's 3 or 4. It's entirely up to your own comfort level. As you step back, you're able to take in more of the screen, get a slightly broader view of what's playing out in front of you. So not so zeroed in anymore to the little details, but able to sort of witness the whole picture of this play of your thoughts, this movie of your thoughts, the activity in your mind. I invite you to continue to move further and further away from the screen as you feel ready. Maybe it's 1 or 2 rows at a time. Maybe it's 5 rows and then it's 1 row. Allow yourself the space to do what feels natural to you. Try not to question it. Trust that you already know. Just keep sort of zooming out. Feel your awareness moving further and further away from the screen until you find yourself at the very back of the room, in the last row of your mind's movie theater. Able to take in not just the screen, but the spaces around the screen. Take your time getting there. Check in, move back when you're ready. Take a few moments to adjust to the new perspective and then continue to move your way back until you make your way to what feels like the furthest vantage point that you could have today. And as you start to settle into this more distant vantage point for the theater of your mind, imagine that with this new vantage point, you see the movement on the screen as a little slower. I invite you, in fact, to allow yourself to focus not on the action, right, and the thoughts themselves, but on the space in between the thoughts. If it's helpful, maybe imagine the thoughts not so much as images playing out on the screen, but as sentences or words. notice that between each individual thought there is space. Sometimes it's a very short space, a fraction of a moment that's available to you before the next thought rushes in. And sometimes notice that there's a little more space, like the space between clouds, right? Sometimes the clouds are big and they cover up a great deal of the sky, and sometimes they seem a little smaller and there's a little more sky available between each cloud. The same is often true of our thoughts. So as best you can, imagine yourself focusing on the space, looking for the little bit of space, the little breather in between, however active or not your mind is right now. So unlike our favorite TV show or a movie theater, we have the ability to shift and change, to be in relationship with our thoughts, the movie of our thoughts, and what's playing on the screens of our minds. And so I'd like to work with this a little bit today by inviting you to begin to program onto the screen a leading sentence, like a journal prompt. But today I'd like you to try, I am. And then see what your mind fills in to complete the sentence. Allow that descriptor to show on the screen. So I am happy. I'm joyful. I'm tired. I'm bored. Whatever it is that goes up on the screen. Allow yourself to see a little bit of space between each one of these, and then plant another I am. Imagine yourself programming it up on the screen, and then allow yourself to finish the thought. And then just keep doing this. I am, and then notice how it is that you talk to yourself, how it is that you naturally complete that sentence. It might include, I am a brother. I'm a human. It might include, I am smart, beautiful, dependable. I'm messy. Maybe some will be surprising, maybe they won't. But just allow the mind as best you can without censoring, so that you start to be in relationship with what your thoughts are, right? You're programming the beginning of the sentence, and then you're giving a little space to see what comes next. Now, maybe you find yourself with some really affirming answers and maybe some not so affirming answers. That's okay. So as you're ready, I invite you to begin to shift toward the more affirming answer. So call to mind what it is about yourself that you celebrate. What are the characteristics, the aspects of yourself that you feel really good about, that feel affirming and supportive to you? What is it that you wish to celebrate about you? Now, some days this practice is easier or harder than other days. I find that sometimes it's quite easy to fill in and remember what it is that I celebrate about myself, that I appreciate about myself. And some days, those answers can be much more difficult to come by. Whichever type of day you're experiencing today, just do your best to find an affirming statement. Even if it's just one that came up that just kind of felt good, that your heart sort of came alive a little, felt a little bigger, a little fuller with. And maybe you just repeat that one over and over again. That's fine. If the affirming sort of sentence is happening quite easily for you today, then follow it. Celebrate all the things about yourself that come to you. I am creative. I am dependable. I am funny. I'm generous. I'm a good friend. I'm strong. I'm courageous. I'm supportive. I'm a good listener. What are those aspects and facets of who you are that make your heart leap a little, swell a little, that you're kind of proud of? Allow yourself to finish the sentences with the things that are personal to you as well. So not just what society values or your friends value or your family values. What do you value about you? I sleep really well at night. I love to dance when no one's watching. I can make people laugh. Take the space of the next few breaths to sort of continue that exercise, either repeating one that feels particularly supportive and affirming to you, or exploring a wider range. If you find that something creeps in that does not feel affirming, that's okay. You can choose to either just let it go by, or you could see if there's a way for you to turn it into a affirmation of yourself. I'm always running late, but I'm trying to do better. I talk a lot, but I make people laugh. And in the space of the next few breaths, I invite you to choose 1 to 3 or so of those affirming statements and to work with them a couple times. In the space of the next few breaths, I invite you to choose 1 or a few of those affirming statements and just work with them for a little while. Repeat them. Find this spaciousness in between them. Anything that feels like it starts to crowd in, create a little more space. Let your mind be focused on these affirming statements. As you continue to be relaxed and focused, I am, and something that feels supportive, nourishing, affirmative to you, affirming to you. Good. So as you're ready, remembering, prioritizing these affirming statements, take a moment, maybe of gratitude for the movie theater of your own mind and this shift in perspective, this ability to get a little space between you and your thoughts, to see a little space between each of your thoughts, and then to begin to work with your thoughts, to be in relationship with the activity of your mind, not run by it, but working with it in relationship with your thoughts. When you're ready, let your awareness travel to your heart and then back to your breath. Maybe take a moment to imagine planting in the center of your heart, in that heart space, the seed of the most affirming statement that you came across. Imagine planting it there in fertile ground as a gentle reminder of what you appreciate, of what you wish to celebrate, of what is precious to you about you. And when that feels complete to you, bring your awareness back to your breath and then slowly back to your body. Taking all the time you need, maybe bringing movements to the fingers and toes. You might bend your knees and roll onto your favorite side, resting for as long as feels good in fetal position. And then I invite you to rise to seated and take those 5 minutes in reflection. And if you feel so led, then go ahead and using the colors that you initially chose, just a couple of colors, you might jot down on your mandala or around your mandala some of or one of those affirming phrases, something that you would like to carry as a reminder. Maybe you feel drawn to just add color or shape or some other drawing or bit of memory from your practices over the last 5 weeks. What is it that you would like to carry forward into your life, into the world, from this time that you've taken out of your days, your weeks, to be here with us? You could break the mandala into sections like a clock and draw various things or write various things. Do your best to allow it to flow out of you quite organically, without censoring, perfecting, or judging. Capture whatever it is that will serve as a positive reminder. for you as you move forward on your journey from this day forward. If you don't feel led to capture anything on paper, then just allow yourself to continue to sit quietly and breathe. Allow yourself to be in silence for a few more moments. Continue working with the colors you chose initially for just a little bit longer. If you're feeling less than inspired by the colors you chose, or you would like to add some other colors, feel free to go get some colors now. But I ask that you maintain silence for just 2 more minutes. So if your mandala feels complete at this point, then that's great. If you'd like to start to talk to each other a little, that's fine. That's been 5 minutes of silence. If you'd like to continue work, then a few more moments of working on your mandala. The mandala can be a living, breathing reminder. So as much as you get done of it today, as you carry it with you, whether you can put it up somewhere maybe in your room or on a mirror where you might see it every day, or even if it ends up in a folder somewhere that you refer back to once in a while. Feel free to add to it too as the inspiration strikes you. It doesn't have to be static, it can be dynamic and reflect the ever evolving, ever shifting perspective of life and of self. But as you complete your work or continue your work, I invite you to carry with you, to carry forward your own affirming perspectives of yourself. Remember periodically to celebrate what is really joyful or magnificent, unique about you. It can be easy to get bogged down in the doing of life, the going to school and the getting here and the getting there and the doing it. And we can forget sometimes that in each day there are moments to be grateful for, and in each of us there are many things to be grateful for. I've genuinely enjoyed spending time with you over the last few weeks, and I hope that you found many things to carry with you forward through life's journey. Thank you for working with me virtually today. The light in me sees, appreciates, and bows to the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.